Hello, my name is Dr. Alice Prince, and I am the CEO and President of Pathways United. And in today's workshop, we are going to talk about the letter of intent needed to submit to the Department of Energy's SBIR and STTR program. In this workshop, we will take a deeper dive into the infamous letter of intent. By the way, did you know that the Department of Energy is the only federal agency that requires you to write a letter of intent? And the letter of intent must be submitted through the PAMS database. I have so much I want to share, so let's get started. First, I am going to go over some key acronyms. These acronyms are not listed in any order, and they are all important. PAMS stands for Portfolio Analysis and Management System. PAMS is the database that is specific to the Department of Energy. If you have not signed up for this database, please sign up for it now. PAMS is the database that you are going to use to submit your letter of intent. If you have any problems accessing PAMS, please call their technical assistance. Technical assistance at PAMS is really good, and they are there to help you. The next acronym is PI. PI stands for Principal Investigator. For all intended purposes, you may be your principal investigator for your project. In some instances, you may not be. And if you are not, then you would simply list whoever is the principal investigator for the project. So, principal investigator means that they are the project director. The principal investigator is in charge of the project. So, if you are the principal investigator, you can designate yourself along with your small business in PAMS. The Department of Energy's funding opportunity announcement specifies that the principal investigator is the key individual designated by the applicant to direct the project. Only one PI is acceptable per project. The PI must be knowledgeable in all technical aspects of the application and be capable of leading the research effort. And again, if you need any assistance, please reach out to the Department of Energy. Other key acronyms are DOE and FOA. DOE stands for the Department of Energy. FOA, is another acronym that will be used quite a bit. FOA stands for Funding Opportunity Announcement. A funding opportunity announcement is the document all federal agencies use to announce the availability of grant funds to the public. Let's talk more about the Funding Opportunity Announcement, otherwise known as the FOA. The Department of Energy releases a set of topics twice a year for their SBIR and STTR opportunities, normally in July and in November. Once the set of topics are released, about a month, approximately, give or take a week, the FOA, otherwise known as the Funding Opportunity Announcement, is then released. Essentially, the Department of Energy releases their topics before they release the Funding Opportunity Announcement. Because they release their topics first, it gives you an opportunity to look at those topics, review those topics, and begin to think about ways to solve the problem and partners that could be involved. Once the funding opportunity is released, well, that's when you should really begin working on your letter of intent. It's time to draft and submit your letter of intent. The letter of intent, otherwise known as the LOI, is one of the most important parts of this journey. If you do not submit a letter of intent, you will not be able to submit a full proposal for the SBIR and STTR program. The Department of Energy is the only federal agency that requires you to submit a letter of intent prior to submitting the full proposal. The letter of intent is submitted through PAMS and the full proposal is submitted through grants.gov. So what is a letter of intent? A letter of intent is a document that is submitted in advance of your Phase 1 application to the Department of Energy's SBIR and STTR programs. It contains important information about your application that will assist the DOE in identifying reviewers in advance of receiving your application or proposal. The Department of Energy requires each applicant to submit the letter of intent. It is mandatory, and you submit the letter of intent through PAMS. Why is the letter of intent required? Good question. The primary purpose of the letter of intent is to allow the Department of Energy time to begin selecting the appropriate technical reviewers for received proposals. The second purpose of the letter of intent is to advise applicants if their proposed research and development appears to be consistent with the intentions of the Department of Energy's subtopics. Only applicants that submit a letter of intent by the due date are eligible to submit a full proposal. It's good to understand how to submit the letter of intent prior to submitting it. So, the letter of intent must be submitted through PAMS, and it has to be submitted in a PDF file. The principal investigator, otherwise known as the PI, must register as an individual and link their registration to the small business within PAMS. PAMS registration is required for the letter of intent to be submitted. The process may take up to 24 hours, so it's very important to begin the process early. The letter of intent is a pretty important document. There are a number of components that must be in the letter of intent. First things first, put the date and the line for regarding, or RE for short. The regarding line should state letter of intent. The next line is the name of your business. Next, put the official contact information for your business, such as the email address and phone number. The Department of Energy's topic and subtopic number and category name should go on the next line. Your project title goes after that, and then type the name of your principal investigator. Add any subcontractors if applicable, or any consultants if applicable. And very important, the project summary / abstract / letter of intent can be no more than 500 words and 2 pages. There is a template available on the Department of Energy's website regarding the letter of intent. This is just a template. This is something that I used when I wrote my letter of intent. I hope you find it helpful. However, always double check with the Department of Energy to ensure the formatting or requirements have not changed. Remember, this is just an example. Now, I'm going to break down the letter of intent in 5 parts. This is my method, and it helps me to stay organized as I write the letter of intent. Others may have a different method, and that is okay. Please always do what's best for you. Okay, now that I've gotten that out the way, the first part is the heading. Make sure you insert the dates. The regarding section should say letter of intent. The title, which is your project title. The category, which is Phase 1, and insert the category name with the number associated with it from the subtopics, then your company's name, your contact information, and your principal investigator's name. Part 2 is what I consider to be the first paragraph, so keep this in mind as you write your letter of intent. The Department of Energy has released a set of problems, and you're writing to propose solutions for the problem. That's your company's innovation. The first paragraph could be about 3 to 5 sentences describing what you are proposing. Part 3 of the letter intent is actually the second paragraph. In this paragraph, you will clearly state the problem and provide the solution. Explain what makes your idea different. Expound on the fact that there is nothing else like this available. You could specifically state, like, complete this sentence. There is nothing like this available because ... Talk about the innovation. Use words and descriptions from the topic description. I usually make this section about 4 to 6 sentences. Part 4, which is the third paragraph, fully explain the need and why your technology fits into the subtopic. Use words and phrases and descriptions that are used in the actual funding opportunity announcement. Make sure you read the references. The references are very, very important, and they can be found at the end of each subtopic. This section for me is normally about 4 to 10 sentences. Please keep in mind this is just the way that I write the letter of intent and the way that I help others write their letters of intent. You can definitely deviate from this advice as you see fit. Part 5 of the letter of intent, which is actually the 4th paragraph. Well, you want to explain the benefits of your technology and the potential for commercialization. You can use a Venn diagram, illustrations, or charts to further explain your point. This section sometimes is anywhere between 4 to 8 sentences. Please keep in mind that this is just an example of a template. This is not a tried and true method. No one can guarantee funding with the Department of Energy or any federal agency. But the primary purpose of the letter of intent is to enable the Department of Energy's program managers to assign reviewers. Your technical abstract should contain sufficient technical information so that reviewers with appropriate technical backgrounds can be identified for your application. However, your letter of intent should not include any proprietary information. The technical abstract should not exceed 500 words in 2 pages. Diagrams and figures may be included, but the resulting abstract may not exceed 2 pages. Get it? Don't go over 2 pages or 500 words. Some additional suggestions I have is do not include your secret sauce in your letter of intent. Include graphics for visual appeal, but within the 2-page limit. The letter of intent must be consistent with the subsequent proposal that you are going to submit. Meaning, you can't write a letter of intent about one thing and submit a completely different proposal. Your project should prove the technical feasibility of solving the problem specified in the Department of Energy's topics and subtopics, and the letter of intent should be professional and well written. I have 3 more additional suggestions regarding the letter of intent. Number 1, upload the letter of intent early. The letter of intent should be submitted through PAMS for the Department of Energy. Remember, the Department of Energy is the only federal agency that requires you to submit a letter of intent prior to submitting a full proposal. Number 2, after you submit your letter of intent through PAMS, be on the lookout for an email confirming that PAMS has received your letter of intent. And number 3, the most important suggestion, comment, or piece of advice that I have. Call or email PAMS helpline the moment that you need assistance. Do not wait for the last minute. The technical assistants at PAMS are extremely knowledgeable and very helpful. The dreaded non-responsiveness. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about what non-responsiveness means. If you receive a non-responsive notification from the Department of Energy, there are a couple of things that you should do and a couple of things that you should not do. The first thing is do not give up. You can still submit a full proposal. I received a non-responsiveness on my first SBIR award. I did not give up. And yes, my full proposal was awarded. The next advice is to review the topics and subtopics again and the resources at the end of each topic and subtopic. Ensure you are not missing key data or elements. The very most important thing I would suggest that you do is set up a meeting with the program manager and talk to them. They can give you more information and insights. Now, if you do not receive any feedback, well, no news is good news. Your letter of intent was responsive. The Department of Energy has a plethora of resources that can help you through this process. Do not get intimidated if this is your very first time. They have programs such as Phase Zero with Dawnbreakers that can give you more insight with your full proposal once you've submitted the LOI. Finally, the Department of Energy has tutorials on their website, and yes, they have technical assistance available to you. Please do not give up. There are so many people that want you to succeed, but more importantly, there are so many people that need you to succeed. If you have any questions or need additional information, please contact the Department of Energy. Thank you.